Latin America is the most Christian region in the world, with 92% of people identifying as Christian. Through all the complexities, Christianity has stayed a consistent and important part of life throughout Latin America for the last 500 years. Starting in the late 15th century, Christianity came to Latin America through Spanish and Portuguese conquests. These conquistadors brought missionaries with them, but also brought violence, forced slavery, and European diseases that led to the decimation of indigenous communities in Latin America. Millions of enslaved Africans were also brought to Latin America, mixing their own religious traditions with the Catholicism of their captors and the traditions of the remaining indigenous peoples. By the 1800s, formal European colonialism ended, but left a complicated relationship between the Catholic Church and the newly independent nations of Latin America. In more recent history, however, the development of liberation theology in the 1960s that was birthed in Latin America began calling not only this region, but the entire global church to care for the poor and oppressed as part of God's mission for His people. Fast forward to today, Latin America is 8% of the world's population, and Latin Americans make up 23% of all global Christians. Every country in Latin America is majority Christian, equaling 620 million Christians in this region. Not surprisingly, 99% of Latin America has access to the gospel, meaning they know someone who is a Christian and have access to a church community. Even in this majority Christian area, religious freedom is also still high, which is good news for religious minorities and less practiced Christian traditions. If the 620 million Latin American Christians were 100 people, most would have access to electricity, internet, doctors, and proper nourishment. Almost all would live in moderately corrupt or highly corrupt countries. Most would live on $10 to $100 a day. 78 would be Catholic, and most would live in urban areas. In fact, the top two cities with the highest Christian populations in the world are Mexico City and Sao Paulo, Brazil. Let's dive deeper into a couple of specific topics shaping the Latin American church. First, since Christianity was introduced to Latin America, there's been a tension between what some call traditional or official Catholicism and popular Catholicism that involves communal practices outside of official church doctrines. Yet even within these two categories, diversity exists politically, socially, and culturally. Today, Latin America represents 40% of the total Catholic Church, more people than even Europe. Latin America is influencing the Catholic Church itself, as seen with former Pope Francis being from Argentina, and current Pope Leo XIV's long-term service in Peru. There's also been a growing interest in Pentecostalism over the past 125 years among Catholic and non-Catholic Christians in Latin America, with the majority of the world's charismatic Catholics living here. Second, evangelical Christianity, or any non-Catholic Christianity in Latin America, has also been growing in the region due to migration and interests in different expressions of Christian practices. Like Catholics, evangelical Christians are also increasing attention on politics and social movements. As we look to the future, we can see how all the new faith practices and theologies coming out of the Latin American church correlate with its continued growth. As the most Christian part of the world, it's important to not ignore its influence on the global church. As we reflect on the different ways each region of the global church affects us, what would it look like for us to learn more about and integrate the gifts of the Latin American church into our own ways of following Jesus?